Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of TED Talk Stamps. To start off this episode, I'd like to go over some viewer mail. Actually, a piece of viewer mail. I got a postcard from a viewer named Joseph. This one right here. Oh, let's see if we can do this right here. And it's something that's right up my alley, just besides stamps. From seeing my old videos, I'm a book lover too. This is an old paperback Pelican books titled Explosives by John Reed. It tells of explosives, their magical creation, their fierce energy, their sudden disruption, their history and romance, and their uses in peace and war. And on the back side, we have 3 stamps. You can see we have a Christmas stamp from 1998. And then next to that, we see a recent issue from the US for Dungeons and Dragons. And this is one stamp from a sheet or a pane rather, that looks like this. There's 10 different designs on there. And then also the third stamp was another recent issue called Carnival Nights. And it also comes from a pane of 20, but 10 different stamps that looks like this. Unlike the D&D stamps here, where you see it's 5 across and 4 down, if you don't want to buy the full pane of the Carnival Nights, well, it's 4 across and 5 down, which means to get a nice cut of, say, the top 2 rows, well, you only have 8 stamps. If you go down to the 3rd row then you got the full set of 10, but then 2 duplicates. So what are you going to do? So that's viewer mail for this episode. Thanks a lot, Joseph. Next, I want to let you know about my new social media hangout. I've been on there a while, but I've only just recently really gone at it. I'm on Blue Sky, and I'm under the same name here, TED Talk Stamps. And I've been posting a lot of stamp-related material, and I'm also posting book-related material, vintage paperbacks, and hardcover book stuff. And also I'm, being nostalgic over my comic book collection since I had to get rid of it before I came to Portugal. I'm recreating my vintage paperback collection and waxing nostalgic over my comics. Now, the one thing about this, if you're a newbie, if you're just starting off on here and you don't know any other stamp-related accounts to follow or to, post with, they have what's called starter packs. And that's where the regular users like me or you or anyone else can put together a list of your own of all the accounts that are posting on the subject, in this case philately. So when you log in, go up into the search box in the top right, and you type in hashtag philately starter pack, and then you'll see that Africa Stamps here has made up a starter pack for philatelic accounts. You open that up and you'll see all the accounts that he has so far listed. These are not necessarily all the accounts on all of Blue Sky, only the ones that he's found and included on the list so far. And you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a blue follow button. You can just click the follow. These blue ones that have yet to be followed, those were all added since I first came here and started following and added my accounts to follow. Or to make it easy, you can just scroll up to the top of the list, and here's a blue button where you can just in just one click, you can follow all of the accounts on the list. So I've abandoned the other similar site like this. I don't care to visit it anymore. And Instagram, I never did really get into Instagram. I have posted a lot there, but it just doesn't have the regular feel like, Blue Sky or the old Twitter used to. So besides my forum, this is the only, other social platform that I'm going to be busy on. So come on over, join me over here and start posting. To find me, you can just put in the search box again at TED Talk Stamps, and my name will pop up, and you just click on me and then hit the follow button, and I'll follow back. So I hope to see you there. Now, for the main event, a viewer left a comment on a previous video asking if I would do a follow-up on the stamp market index. Remember, some time back, probably early on in my video career here, where I did a video on the decline in stamp values since the 1980s, and this viewer wanted to see a follow-up on that. So I obliged him, and this is what I came up with. First, a little background. Back in the old days, up until from the 1980s, actually back to 1970, Lynn's editors had started in the 80s, but they then went back and filled in the years back to 1970. They created a stamp market index where they had, I don't really recall how many stamps they included, around 60 or so. They had about 20 classic era stamps, about 20 or so modern era, and 20 or so back of the book stamps, mainly airmails and maybe parcel post, special delivery. And here you can see I've recreated the chart here. 1981 marked the peak of the stamp market. It peaked at an index of 900, and from there it just crashed to a low of about 400 in 1991, just 10 years later. 11 years later, it kind of reached a peak of 710 and then kind of dipped and stabilized a little and rose a little bit higher to a new peak of 755 in 2007, and then on up to 2014, where it dipped down again to 682. It was in 2014 then that Lynn's retired that stamp market index, feeling that the stamps included in the index didn't represent the true market of the most popular stamps being purchased. And it wasn't until 2021 then that they resurrected it. And they have about, I believe it's about 68 stamps that they include. Same thing of three periods: the classic, modern, and back of the book. Like I said, this started in 2021, and each quarter they update the index. Now I have it, and it's published in Scott Stamp Monthly. I have a subscription to Scott Stamp Monthly, so I'm able to go back and look at all the back issues. And I went back to 2021 when this the new index started, and charted all the values of all the stamps for each year from 2021 and then in 2022, taking May of each year, May of 2021, May of 2022, 2023, 2024, and then I just made another one for the latest one from August of 2024. So I tried to equalize the new numbers to the old ones by just adjusting my numbers for the new stamps, just indexing it to the last index value from 2014. Now, I do have a 2017 catalog, and being a 2017 catalog, it was published in early 2016, which means that they actually compiled the data for that catalog in 2015. So here you can see I've made a column for the 2015 values of the new stamps that are being used. Before I get ahead of myself, going back to our chart, we see that at 2014, the index ended at 682. So what I did when compiling my new chart was I took the 2015 values and just assume, for the sake of this project, that the 2015 was unchanged from 2014. So I took the total of the 2015 values of the new stamps, which came to $23,291 for, if you have one of each of these stamps, that's the total value. And I assigned a divisor so that we could call this 682, just assuming that there was little to no change. I just gave this an index value of 682, equal to the last one from 2014. So then from there, from 2021 on, these are all the values listed by the Scott Stamp Monthly each quarter. And the orange boxes are where values have gone down from the previous listing. So Scott number 1 in 2015 was 400 in the Scott catalog. In 2021, it went down to 350, and so I marked that orange. The green boxes are where Scott catalog values were up from the previous listing. So looking again on the right side at the bottom, we see that 2021 total aggregate value was down about $60, which caused the index to come down to 680. And then over the next couple of years, we see just mostly green boxes, mostly increases in value. So in 2022, the index went from 680 to 692, in 2023 up to 694, and then in 2024 up to 696 in May of 24. And then in August 24, the index dropped a little, mainly because of just a couple of stamps. This one went down $50. Here's a $200 drop for Scott number 292. So that caused the index to drop by 8.688. In chart form, that looks like this. The red line shows on the left side, the old stamp market index, and then on the right side of the red line is the new stamp index. It says graded stamp index because the Scott Stamp Monthly, they give the values in several different grades, from fine to very fine, extra fine, up to superb. But I'm using only the very fine values. And we see how in 2014 we are at 682, and since then, in the 10 years, the market has really gone nowhere. It rose a little bit up to 696, but like I said, now in August 2024, we're at 688, just 6 points higher than we were in 2014. Now, of course, the caveat is that this is only the U.S. stamp market. U.S. stamps, and probably mainly, if not only, U.S. dealers. But I'm pretty sure that that's a pretty good reflection of the worldwide stamp market. It might even be better, because I know, at least in more classic U.S. stamps, the market is a lot stronger. Stamps will sell for a higher percentage of catalog value than, modern stamps. And the U.S. stamp market as a whole is, I think, stronger. Some popular countries like Germany, I've been reading on some stamp boards where German stamps just go begging. German stamp lots sell for a low percentage of catalog value, as well as the stamps of Great Britain, Switzerland, and I'm talking about even for the classic period stamps. So anyway, that at least it looks like the downtrend that started in 1981 has ended, and the stamp market is more or less stable, it looks like, which makes it good for us buyers. Of course, there are stamps that are, increasing in value. I noticed in the last Scott catalog, the 2024 edition, Portugal, the Scott editors did a full review of stamp values for Portugal, and a lot of them showed very large price increases. And I've been taking advantage of the fact that a lot of dealers, don't keep up with the latest Scott catalog, so they have not adjusted their prices accordingly. So I'm picking up what I feel are some bargains in early Portugal stamps. And of course, there are still investment grade stamps that will go up in value, but that's something that you can't just approach casually. It's like, in the stock market, you have to study the market, study the auction houses, study the auction results, and, do your due diligence. But at the very least, I think for any collection that, any normal collection that the normal stamp collector has, it doesn't seem to me like there's a big worry about losing value in your collection. Of course, it's all relative too. That, the catalog value may remain fairly stable. However, if you wanted to realize that value, that's another thing. Selling it to a dealer or going to an auction house, you're going to receive a very small percentage of catalog value. And that's always been the case. So, that's nothing new. But at least for, high ticket items, if you're looking to buy, Zeppelins or Columbians or other, higher multi-$100 US classics, I don't think there's much risk in buying them now. But what do I know? So anyways, the value of the stamps isn't what's important. It's your enjoyment and the pleasure and the knowledge you obtain from collecting these little historical artifacts. That's the way it should be, and I think that's the way it will always be. And so for the viewer who asked, and I'm sorry I don't recall your name and I couldn't find your message, I couldn't find your comment again. Anyways, I hope this answers your questions, and I hope you enjoyed this update on the stamp market. So I've got just one more announcement before I close out this session. Next week, we are moving again into our permanent home. We've purchased an apartment in downtown Funchal, and I will have a new address, which I hope never to ever change again. So I will be updating that address in the on the About tab on my home page. So look for that. And until next time, this is Ted the Talking Stamp Collector, wishing you all happy stamping.